For my new student dialogue, I went to Welcome to Southern Culture, a dialogue on regional stereotypes, and I had two guys as my facilitators, and they were really good at like getting things going. And first, what we did is we did an activity where we had like a pie chart, and we had to fill it out, and like we had to like figure out like what we valued most, like there's like family, religion, grades, all that kind of stuff. And I was actually kind of surprised how much I learned about myself. Like I didn't realize like how little actually like I really cared about religion or like my sexuality or any of that, and like how different that was for other people, especially people from the South. A lot of them put religion very high up on their ranking. But so that was an interesting activity to kind of like get things going and like figure out, like give a good starting point. And then we started more getting into the topic of regional stereotypes. And being here at Clemson, most of the people are from South Carolina or somewhere close here. So being from Connecticut was definitely something a little bit different. There were like maybe 5 people out of South Carolina, and then the other like 25 people were from South Carolina or somewhere southern. And one of the first things we did is we made 2 categories on the whiteboard that one for like southern stereotypes and one for northern stereotypes. And so like of course northerners got like cold, unfriendly, snobbish, all these other things, while southerners got like stupid, hicks, like rednecks, racist, that kind of thing. And so that was interesting, especially to like hear from people in the South like what they thought of people in the North. And that was kind of a cool thing. And like that really started getting people talking. Like that was something like everyone has heard, like stereotypical jokes, so like they definitely had something to say about that. And like I started speaking up and took more of like an active role, because like since there were so few people from the North, I was one of the few to like speak up for us or like offer other southern stereotypes that maybe like is more of a northern thing that the southern people weren't aware of. But so we did that, and then one game that we did that I really liked was we had like an object in the middle of the floor. Everyone got in a circle around it, and the facilitators would say a statement, and if you agreed with it, you'd step towards the object, and if you disagreed, you'd take a step back. And so it's very interesting. Like they brought up things like at what age do you plan on getting married? Like, so like they're like, do you plan on getting married like right out of college? And it was interesting, like a lot, like to see how many people wanted that lifestyle, or then when they asked who wants to be a stay-at-home mom. That was a very interesting thing. The amount of people that like said they wanted to do that and said that they wanted their husbands to be the breadwinners. The amount of people that said they wanted that lifestyle like surprised me a lot more. It was a lot more people than I expected at this point in time, especially after like all of like the women's rights and everything, and like people wanting like women and men to be equal. So that was very interesting. And I also we did another exercise where we like compared like words that people have in different parts of the country for different things. Like for example, like something you push around at the store to carry all your stuff, people from the South call it buggy, whereas I call it a shopping cart. And then the shoes you wear on your feet at the gym, people from the South call them tennis shoes, I call them sneakers. So that was definitely something very interesting. It's funny to like hear all the different ways people talk about or have words for these things. But I definitely feel like we achieved dialogue. Like people were definitely speaking their minds and they weren't afraid to. And there was no judgment. It seemed like everyone was like really open to like hearing people's stories, people's thoughts on things. And so like I felt comfortable speaking up. Like I didn't feel like people were judging me. So it felt like a very like open environment. There are definitely some quieter people. There are definitely the people that spoke up more, but for the most part, it was really good, and the facilitators definitely helped a lot with that. But it was definitely overall a really good experience. Like going into it, I didn't honestly think I was gonna have that good of a time, but like coming out of it, I was like, that was a lot of fun actually. So I definitely think that's a good experience, and it's definitely like something different to do as a freshman. And I think it's actually very beneficial. I like being able to talk with people from down here in a very open environment. So thought it was a good activity, really enjoyed it, and I think it's something that should be continued.